on Anaheim. Once they were underway, it was the Ducks that came out flying. But the Oilers didn't pass up the opportunity to fight back, with Zach leading the way. Eventually, it was the Ducks that quacked under the pressure. Give your head a shake, because the Edmonton Oilers are perfect to start the 2021-2022 season.
Rogers Oilers Hockey on Sportsnet. Brought to you by Rogers 5G, Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. By Ford, the official automotive partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Ford built Ford proud. And by Molson Canadian, official partner of the Edmonton Oilers. Rep our home.
Did anyone see us that night?
No. To kick off the road portion of the regular season in regards to the Edmonton Oilers. Well, listen, I'm happy to be here and happy to be back here enjoying the opportunity to be on the road. Oilers versus Coyotes on Sportsnet 360. We've got it all over our network. I'm not missing my mic, but the Edmonton Oilers are missing their mic in a situation we could have never forecasted in the last game, because who knew that Mike Smith, who got the start for Edmonton, would get, it doesn't look like a lot. Mike Smith is in fantastic shape, but here's the good news for Oilers fans who wondered, hey, that doesn't look so good at that point in time, but hey, he's looking fine. He's in Arizona, he's got the glasses going, it's day-to-day, he'll be back in action soon. Be careful. I hope this isn't a fire hazard, but I'm sure yesterday they said, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Boosh. Happy birthday to you. I've got puns older than this guy. 22 years of age, October 20th, 1999. He was born in Oakville, Ontario, and just a few hours before he turned 22. How about that? That was a huge goal for Edmonton, the fourth goal of his National Hockey League career. Yes, believe it. All right, Edmonton, what a start they have had. Yes, I wouldn't say it's been a cakewalk, but they are off to the kind of start that Dave Tippett was hoping to have. The fact that they have been able to defeat Vancouver, Calgary, as well as Anaheim, they find themselves in a situation, if they win tonight, Florida's already won, they could go 4-0. Here is Paul Sura.
Rise and remove your hats to honor both Canada and the United States of America. And now, here tonight to perform O Canada and the Star-Spangled Banner, please welcome Patrick Lauder.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
First road game of the year for the Edmonton Oilers brings us to the Valley of the Sun as Edmonton looks to go 4-0. Arizona still looking for its first win of the season. Oilers' best record on the road last year in the entire league, tied with Washington, thanks in part to this man, Mikko Koskinen. As we get a look at our starting goaltenders, brought to you by Tim Hortons, the official coffee of the National Hockey League. He was 13-13 last year, won his last 4 on the road, and won Tuesday night against Anaheim, stopping 20 of 21 in relief of Mike Smith. Meanwhile, Karel Vejmelka makes his second National Hockey League start. Originally a Nashville draft pick, he stopped 43 of the 45 shots he's faced thus far this season. And that brings us to the opening face-off where Derek Ryan will take it, Louis, as the third line gets the nod from Dave Tippett.
And as we've seen before with Dave Tippett on the road by design, starts the third line to set that tone and tempo of how he wants the game played tonight versus the Arizona Coyotes.
Ryan Cassian and this man Warren Fogle on the ice to start with Keith and Ceci defensively. Your starting lineup brought to you by Scotiabank. Scotiabank believes there's a place for all Canadians in Canada's game. Cassian coming off his 5th 2-goal game of his NHL career. Had 3 hat tricks in the Ontario Hockey League as a junior. He's telling us about them rather effervescently. He was quite pleased about telling us about it. Louis, the big guys always love to talk about their big goal games.
They do, yes, no question about it.
Duncan Keith directly behind his own net. Looks for the long home run to Kyler Yamamoto, and it was punched away from him and grabbed by Ryan Dzingel, whom we saw last year as a member of the Ottawa Senators. It was his second tour of duty with the Sens. Lead pass picked off by Draisaitl, reunited with Nugent Hopkins and Yamamoto tonight. Connor McDavid playing with Puljujarvi and Zach Hyman as Dave Tippett has shuffled up his top 6. Nurse a shot wide from the point. Defense remains the same. Cuckoo and Bouchard on the third pair. Here's Yamamoto, twisting one to Nugent Hopkins. Back to the point, ripped on net, a save made by Vejmelka against Tyson Barrie up top.
Well, this line reunited again by Dave Tippett. You talked about it, Jack, just trying to spread things out with Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Yamamoto. Good cycle down low, puck possession, puck protection right here. Nice little move by Yamamoto. Nugent Hopkins comes in and the one-time blast by Barrie. A little late getting to the front, but a nice shot through that traffic, and Vejmelka makes a solid first save for the first one that he's seen in this one.
McDavid, 199 goals in his NHL career. Off the face-off, Hyman clears back to the point. Another shot by Nurse, redirected off the pads of Vejmelka, who lost a shootout decision in Buffalo. As Arizona opened with a lopsided loss to Columbus, better against Buffalo. And then was briefly leading St. Louis before giving up 5 goals in 5 minutes. Here's McDavid dashing in right side. Beautiful drop pass, and it was swept away from Hyman at the last instant. And Jacob Chychrun able to clear for the Coyotes up the right-hand side.
We're going to see a lot of each other tonight. Every time McDavid's on the ice, I'm sure you're going to see Chychrun come over the ice, over the board, if he can. Does a nice job there to interfere just enough, but not take a penalty on that drive.
He, like the rest of his team, off to a bit of a tough start. Chychrun -7 through 3 games. Here's Louis Eriksson, the veteran for Arizona, to Kessel. One touch, and that was blocked, and an ultimate save made by Koskinen as he able to cover against Travis Boyd, but the initial shot taken by Dyson Mayo, making his National Hockey League debut.
Yeah, it gets right up in the action. Congratulations to Dyson Mayo, who's been in the organization for a long time, and he finally gets his chance here, and he pounces in. There's the one chance at the other end. McDavid's taken down right here. No call on the play. Takes a look around to see where that call was going to be, but there's Mayo jumping up in the play. Played 4 years for the Edmonton Oil Kings, won a Memorial Cup in 2014, so Edmonton fans will know him well, and he's
paid his dues and finally gets his chance.
5 years in the minors, including some time in the ECHL. One of 4 right-handed shots on the Arizona blue line tonight. And now Boyd is offside for the Coyotes with 2.5 gone by and a scoreless first.
This period brought to you by James H. Brown and Associates, Alberta's precedent-setting injury lawyers. Get the settlement you deserve. JamesHBrown.com.
From Gila River Arena, no score in this game. Jack Michaels along with the governor, Louis DeBrusque. You could run for office here. I'm quite convinced you could be the mayor of Glendale. There is no doubt in my mind. Lead pass delivered to Kyle Turris. Crossing to Cody Ceci, his shot blocked by the aforementioned Mayo. And here's Brendan Perlini, the former Coyote. He's got 3 goals in 3 games when he's played Arizona. Takes a pass from Ceci, quick shot blocked by Mayo. Scrambles after the puck. Beats Devin Shore to it, but Shore able to pull it free for Edmonton. Fend off a pair of Coyotes and boot it back to Perlini. He'll swing it over to Turris. Rubbed around the boards, Duncan Keith. Smacked it back down low. Turris sets a screen for Devin Shore. Centering pass intercepted and cleared by Krause.
Good shift by the 4th line with Oilers here against their old Coyote team. 2 of the members of that 4th line were former first-round picks of the Phoenix Coyotes and Arizona Coyotes, respectively. In Turris and Perlini, and a nice work down low to cycle and work back to the blue lines, looking for those opportunities. A simplified attack. And for Dave Tippett, he talked about it being a little sloppy the last couple of games. Wants to dial things in and have more of a controlled effort in this one tonight.
Yeah, Turris, correct me if I'm wrong, Louis played for Wayne Gretzky at age 18.
Yep.
And he broke in quite quickly. Fogle enters the offensive zone. Ryan to Cassian. And then chipped down low to Fogle. Centering pass picked off. And it's Eriksson for Arizona advancing through Lyubushkin. Then Eriksson gave it away, and now Fogle burrows in, trying to create a secondary chance. Lyubushkin able to recover with ease and swing it over to Connor Timmins. Went for the home run, and it was tipped in by Dzingel. Faked the slapper, dished off to Andrew Ladd, and then that was clubbed wide. Koskinen played it off the boards, and Yamamoto will look to clear for Edmonton with a reversal to Tyson Barrie. Up the boards, Nurse tried to find it, held in by the well-traveled Anton Stralman, now playing for his 7th team in 15 years. Stralman calling for the puck and eventually hacked it down low. And there's Johan Larsson out to the point, ripped by Chychrun, and that's redirected up on the plexi. Handled by Stralman, cuts behind, checked by Nurse, and that allows Draisaitl to come over and make a play on the puck. 2 goals, 2 assists, and 20 face-off wins for Leon Draisaitl on Tuesday. That's all he did. Yamamoto knocked off balance. Chipped out to center, Cuckoo finding Draisaitl. 5 gone by, centering pass, Nugent Hopkins. Draisaitl, Bouchard. Wrist shot, hit his own man, Yamamoto. And Dmitry Yashkin, the one-time St. Louis Blue, was able to hoist it back through center. Bouchard, little give and go with Cuckoo. And now Jesse Puljujärvi swung it off the glass, and that climbed out of play with 5.5 gone by. We're scoreless.
And much like we saw versus the Anaheim Ducks a couple nights ago, have to watch for that stretch pass up the ice, and you're going to see Dzingel sneak in behind. Quick little change, and he didn't miss that puck by much and would have been in all alone on Mikko Koskinen. So when you get focused on the cycle offensive zone, sometimes you have to take a little look and make sure they're not breaking out of the zone looking for that. That was a beautiful pass up the ice by Timmins.
Puljujärvi, flick of the wrist, put it back behind the Arizona net. He, along with McDavid and Draisaitl, combined for 22 points in Edmonton's first 3 wins. But that's where Dave Tippett controls the line changes at home. On the road, it's a different story. Maybe that's why we see a different mix tonight. Christian Fischer in on the forecheck for Arizona. Here's Shane Gostisbehere. One-time All-Star for the Philadelphia Flyers. Lost the handle, and here we go. 2-on-1. McDavid and Hyman. McDavid shoots! And that might have caught the outside edge of the pads of Vejmelka. Here's Keith. McDavid missed 200 by an eyelash there. Ceci a shot off the pads of Vejmelka, and it went right to Yashkin. He did not make the clear, though. McDavid to Puljujärvi. Shot blocked in front. Jay Beagle for the Coyotes, off to Fischer and right in front of his own bench. Fischer and Hyman engaged. right in front of first-year head coach Andre Tourney. Of course, led Team Canada to junior gold back in 2020. Arizona resets the pace here. Strawman. Krause is able to slash it in deep. Koskinen to handle. Off the boards, picked off by Clayton Keller. Poked away from him by Perlini. Schmaltz backdoor, and a stop made by Koskinen with the blocker. Got Jacob Chikrin, and what a stop made by Mikko Koskinen to keep this game locked in a scoreless tie. Short from Turris.
Standing save. Incredible. Great read to come across and make that one by Koskinen. And that's the type of save you like to see early on from your goaltender. And for Mikko Koskinen getting the start. Here's that rush. A little tip pass to McDavid with speed. A 2-on-1. Elects to shoot it. No looker again. Tries to go far side. And doesn't miss by very much. And then a beautiful pass out to a pinching Chikrin. Watch this blocker. Extension up over top of the net. That's a grade A chance. And even better save. End-to-end action early on here.
Well, you said it, Louis. The key there is the read as much as the save.
Tracking that puck. And, you know, for Mikko Koskinen, knows that he's got some games in hand here that he's going to play, and said he wants to be a little more settled in between the nets and be just a little bit more poised. Well, he looked it on that one. That's just a nice extension for the big man and a big save early in this game.
Icing call whistled against the fourth line, but they were able to extract off the draw. Now Phil Kessel starting the other way for Arizona with an errant pass that'll be intercepted by Darnell Nurse, who was second only to Chikrin last year among D-men in goals.
I was just about to say that's an 18-goal scorer last year in Chikrin, and picked his spot high on that short side.
Beautiful chip by Cassian. Wrist shot off the rush, handcuffed Pamelka, but he fought it off against Eric Ryan, and a clear by Kessel. Travis Boyd. Check to the ice by Darnell Nurse. That was just extermination right there.
Elimination.
Nurse and Barry on a reset. Teams played in 1920. It was tight. The games in regulation were split. 2 others went to overtime, and those were split as well. Never easy pulling out a win here at Gila River Arena. Nurse around the boards, wrap around by Fogle, clipped the side of the goal, and that's grabbed and cleared by Andrew Ladd up to Dzingel. He'll dump a bouncing puck that Koskinen knocked down. There's the effect of Mike Smith. Koskinen comes out, makes the play, and it's easily exited by Barry.
It doesn't have to be much, just a little play. Don't try and overhandle it. Make sure you have a design target early when you come out of the net. That was perfect how Koskinen played that one.
Chikrin, beautiful move, lasered it in, and there's Koskinen poking it into the far corner. 3 years ago, I'm not sure you see it. Here's Beagle centering a backhander off the outside of the post. In one motion, Yashkin denied, and a second opportunity from a sharp angle. And Koskinen has been razor sharp here in the early going. Yamamoto into the skates of Nugent Hopkins, off the turnover, Christian Fisher. Centering pass eludes Jay Beagle. Came over along with Louis Eriksson from Vancouver. Draisaitl at center. Yamamoto gathers, waits, dishes, one-timer. Draisaitl had it blocked. Rebound Yamamoto, and that was slugged right into a couple of skates. Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl fell down from his knees. He tried to center, and that glanced off the side of the net. And Yashkin will send Clayton Keller ahead of the field. Tracked and easily cleared back the other way by Barry. Nurse to Nugent Hopkins, who lobs it in. Coming up on the halfway point of this scoreless first period. Nick Schmaltz carries the puck from center. He was acquired in the deal that brought Perlini here as well, off the right-hand side. Perlini went to Chicago. Yep. That was the Dylan Strome and Perlini deal. We're scoreless, 10 gone, and now a message from Sports Interaction.
Providing competitive odds on all sports, Sports Interaction is Canada's odds maker.
Face-off coming to the right of Pamelka, and McDavid wins it cleanly. So cleanly, I guess they're going to do it again. Referees Corey Severette and Kelly Sutherland. Linesmen Tyson Baker and Ryan Gibbons. And Zach Hyman will take the draw. Dave Tippett has talked about how one of Hyman's skills he didn't know about was his face-off ability. And I whammied him there as Schmaltz won the draw for Arizona. And the Coyotes able to clear inside the Oiler line. Keith, an outlet for Connor McDavid. Shrugged off a check, forced down wide. Here's a snapshot that's not held by Vejmelka, but cleared by Chychrun, alertly off the glass and back through center.
He thought he had that one, and that one sat there for a while, and it's one of those situations where it felt like he had it up in his shoulder area and just dropped down into the blue paint.
Koskinen again able to handle a puck up the right-hand side for Jesse Puljujärvi. Swung it rink wide, and that was picked off and dished right back in by Connor Timmins, who came over in the field and sent Darcy Kemper to Colorado, the goaltender. Chance for Arizona. Centering pass off of Andrew Ladd's stick, deflected out. Timmins, Gostabir nearly had it poked away by Puljujärvi. He's got that wide-ranging stick. Here's Ladd inside, and another save by Koskinen through a screen against Dzingel. Ladd whacked it around the boards. Tell you what, Arizona's had 3 or 4 real good one-time looks against Mikko Koskinen, and he's read them all beautifully.
They're finding that play from behind the goal line to the slot and just funneling into that zone.
CC's first pass looking for McDavid. Disrupted by Kessel and punched over to Travis Boyd. It's kind of an extra in Toronto and Washington for all those years, though he did claim a Stanley Cup by getting into a Cup final for the Capitals in 2018. Here's Nurse. Center ice. Boyd lost the handle. Nugent Hopkins down the middle. And a poke check sent Yamamoto after it into the corner. That was well played. Chychrun attempted to advance a second look, and now we'll have a hand pass.
No score here. Dmitry Ashkin tries to make it 1-0 on this chance here as he walks into the backhand, almost tucks it around Koskinen right there on the doorstep, and that little fumble here drops down, but eventually it's gobbled up. Notice this year, and it's happening on a regular basis, is more drives from below the goal line out into the slot and taking the puck to the net. This goal by Ryan, the third line has really exemplified that in the sense the way they play. Zach Hyman coming over from the Toronto Maple Leafs plays that hard-nosed drive to the net type of game. This is another goal, Fogle, Nugent Hopkins to Cassian back door. Those plays and jam plays around the net make it very difficult to defend against a very big forward group of the Edmonton Oilers, and that's the way they want to play throughout this season. Just another dimension that's added when you look at the bodies that they've injected into the lineup this year.
On Arizona, you talk about bodies injected in the lineup. It's a brand new team. Timmins up the gut. Nugent Hopkins, the denial initially, swept in by Louis Eriksson. One of several new additions to this Coyotes hockey camp.
12 players tonight that did not play for the Arizona Coyotes last year, so that gives you an example of the turnover that's been here in the desert and trying to get things on track early.
Draisaitl back to the point. Nurse held the zone just inside, and then it was chopped away from Tyson Barrie. Lyubushkin dashes over, makes good feed to Kessel, and a wrist shot fought off and out of play from Mikko Koskinen.
Hot and fresh pizzas, wings, and all the game day cravings delivered right to your door by Pizza 73. Score a great deal at pizza73.com.
Well, here it is, Jack. You mentioned the new faces to the Coyotes this season. I'm going to include Dyson Mayo. He's been in their organization but has never played a game. And as we mentioned, 12 into the lineup tonight that did not play last year for the Arizona Coyotes. And it's a big overhaul. Some elderly veterans put in there to kind of help the young players with these guys in their last years of contracts that are hungry to get that next one, continue to play.
Off the draw, Gostabir got a shot through, and now so does Mayo. And it is caught up near the left clavicle by Mikko Koskinen, who's been poised as can be thus far in net.
That was a good save again. That shot by Dyson Mayo, short side. I talked to Mikko a little bit yesterday in the elevator, and he seems to be in real good spirits this year. Jack, it's just one of those situations. Last year, he says he went into the summertime, had a great training session, throughout the summer, came in, renewed, and wants to have a better year. Listen, he had some stumbles last year, but he said it's a new season. He's looking at it that way. He's been sharp early.
Stralman's shot redirected off the pads of Koskinen. Jay Beagle back to the point. That was tipped and eventually swung back inside the Arizona blue line by Puljujärvi. Funneled back through. Koskinen out to handle it. He's been very active handling the puck tonight. You wouldn't even know Mike Smith was out. course, Koskinen being backed up by the third-round pick in 2017, Stuart Skinner. Sent in deep, and now off the big hit, here comes Christian Fischer, muscling one back through center. Fischer, one of only 4 Coyotes draft picks in the lineup tonight for Arizona. Just again, telling you what kind of turnover they've had here in the desert. Said goodbye to Christian Dvorak, one of their supposed building blocks in the offseason, unloading him to Montreal. Chychrun gaining center, and calmly backhanding it behind Duncan Keith. Keith playing about 17.5 minutes in his first 3 games for Edmonton. Breaks away from traffic, sends a pass up to Perlini. He'll launch it in from center. Big hop off the corner boards, tracked by Labushkin. Turned it over. Turris from the goal line. Hard pass, well handled by Ceci. Drive, Keith, save made. Pamelka, and the rebound covered by the rookie netminder. 5:59 to go in the first. Mikko Koskinen standing tall. The Edmonton Oilers dead even on the road in the desert.
In the regular season to the U.S. This was the team landing yesterday in Phoenix. Buses and off to the same hotel they normally stay at. And speaking of normal, of course, there's always fans in and around the Oilers looking for autographs. Fans in attendance tonight, they may remember the fact that the last time Edmonton played a game on the road in the regular season, March 5th, 2020, Louis and Jack were there, and it was in Chicago.
I think I was ignored that time, too. Walking around with Louis can really be emasculating, especially in this city. And Gene's got the hair. I got nothing except a suit that looks like Louis. Off the draw. Grabbed and taken, swung out by Johan Larsson, but not out just yet. Oilers able to clog it up. In the high slot, though, forced to retreat Devin Shore. Able to gain control, powers it over to Duncan Keith. No! Shore, Turris, Perlini established a great deal of chemistry in the preseason, and Dave Tippett wants to give it a long, hard look in the regular season as we have icing against Arizona. Scoreless, 5.5 to go.
You know, for Dave Tippett, that's exactly what he's looking for. He's just looking for that synergy and with amongst the lines. And as you mentioned it earlier, Jack, you know, splitting up McDavid, Draisaitl gives him a little more depth, harder to match up against on the road. And that's by design. That's something he talked about right from training camp this year when he had these lines intact. And then he broke them up for 3 games at home, 3 wins, trying something different here in Arizona.
Draisaitl won the face-off, pushed wide by Nugent Hopkins. Speaking of wins, Dave Tippett had 282 of them here in the desert when he was head coach. And also, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge Ken Holland and even Grand with the win over Anaheim on Tuesday. 1,000 wins for the Oilers GM as a general manager in the NHL.
Congratulations.
Sent in deep, Jay Beagle. Big swipe of the puck, brushed aside by Cuckoo. And now Eriksson able to gain control. And what do we have? Louis and I will try to sort that out. We're befuddled. We got no score.
Puljujarvi drew 2 penalties. There's the first one on Fowler. Then he goes to the front of the net right here. He gets knocked down from behind. And that's a penalty on Raquel. That's a 5-on-3. The Oilers go to work. And eventually cash in right here as it goes off a skate to McDavid. Perfect pass to his #1 target, Draisaitl, for his 200th career goal. And just one of those situations again where, yes, Puljujarvi using that size to just demand that puck and be a thorn in your side, draws 2 penalties, results in a big power play goal.
And quite frankly, you and I thought there could have easily been a third penalty drawn by Puljujarvi later on in that game.
Again, a double. It
yes,
would have been a double
it could
again.
have been the old daily double. Ryan wins the draw in his own zone. That's why he was brought here. Exactly that. More right-handed face-off men for draws in your own end. And now pounded on net towards the Arizona goal by Cuckoo. Redirected, thrust in front. Cuckoo tries again, and this one sifted wide. Snapped the stick of Travis Boyd. So it's 5-on-4.5 here. Cuckoo trying to take advantage, but his pass behind Kassian and cleared by Louis Eriksson. Cuckoo has it left for him by Kassian as the Oilers and Coyotes complete line changes. Bouchard off the backhand of Hyman. who's upended, but gets it right back from McDavid. Flicked it in front. Hand pass coming, but that's negated by the touch from Beagle. Nurse tries to cancel out, but Beagle eventually is able to stick handle his way out of the zone and send Fisher ahead. Barry back defensively, reaching, he erases Fisher, but now darting in is Beagle. Trailed by two Oiler defenders, Nurse and Pugliarvi. And now a five-player scrum develops, and the puck squirts dangerously into the slot. Chickering did not activate, and that allowed Barry a chance to clear. He didn't get it done, so we'll swing it over to Nurse.
Chickering got lucky there. He got caught right in the middle, but he still continued on with the attack, and in the last second just kind of picked off that attempt by Barry.
McDavid with three Coyotes getting right at him at center ice and ends up with a puck courtesy of Pugliarvi. Feeds Nugent Hopkins and it's stripped from behind. What a backtrack by Ladd, and then Nugent Hopkins stole it right back. Little give and go, and perhaps one pass too many. And cleared finally by Johan Larsson. What a retrieval by Nugent Hopkins. Datsukian.
A little steal of the puck back one way, then the other. Just a great recovery right there. And then, as you mentioned, maybe a little overpassing for the Oilers right now. Once they have that puck in the offensive zone, early on they were getting pucks to the net, creating those second opportunities, creating possession for lengths of time, and they're just trying to do a little bit too perfect right now. Get back to just putting it down in that danger zone.
Ladd able to punch it in, and now Lawson Krause looks to do work. Larson out of his reach. Clayton Keller gathers himself, shrugs off Ceci, and finds Krause. Fed to Larson from the goal line. Sharp angle off the right shoulder of Koskinen. Keith to Yamamoto. Snared by Keller. Arizona continues to be pesky here. Coyotes have outplayed the Oilers for large stretches of this first period. Finally tossed out by Ceci.
And having a little bit too much time around the net and around Koskinen right there. That could have been easily taken right out from below the goal line, but wasn't. And we've seen a couple high-quality chances similar to that.
Vogel, beautiful move around, shoots and scores! Brilliant individual effort, and that will be Warren Vogel's first goal as an Edmonton Oiler.
And the bench jumped up pretty quick after that one. A lot of pressure by the Coyotes in the offensive zone, and this is the type of play Edmonton needed right here. Just an excellent individual drive. Little bobble of a puck. Watch Cassian makes a play out of the zone, puts it to an area that Vogel can skate into, and then he just walks around. Just a beautiful move. Inside, outside, goes through Mayo. In his first National Hockey League game, he's a big customer, Vogel, power forward, and then finishes it off with a shot that goes through Vejmelka and finds its way into the back of the net for a 1-0 lead. What an individual effort.
Just went right through Mayo and powered it through Vejmelka.
I got the sense for Vogel. He's been sniffing around the net every game that he's played for an Oiler, and that's why they went out and acquired him. That big size drive into the blue paint. Just a great effort there to finish that one off.
He willed that puck into the net. And now he's got it back at center. And don't think for a moment, Louis, you talked about it at the outset. Now we've got an elbow or a high stick coming from Zach Cassian. But you talked about the third line getting a little bit of a lift and a little bit of a spark when Dave Tippett starts them.
Yeah, that's when you know you're doing something right, and Cassian just gets a little aggressive. He went the back hit on Gostisbehere here as he comes into him and elevates the stick, and watch the head snap back here when he comes through with the stick just a little too high, and he whacks him pretty good. Good call by the official on that one, and first power play goes to the Arizona Coyotes.
What I think happened there is that Gostisbehere wasn't as close to Cassian as Cassian thought. He thought he was going to come into him with a shoulder and got himself extended. And that's what created the power play for the Arizona Coyotes, who are 2 for 10 in the first 3 games. Oilers 8 for 10 on the penalty kill, so an even 80-20 split.
And Cassian didn't argue it. He knew right away.
PK, Hyman the right-handed shot on the draw, and bursting into a seam, Evan Bouchard in a timely clear. Nurse and Nugent Hopkins will round out the penalty-killing quartet as Arizona looks to get this game even before the end of the first period. Vogel from Cassian, 18:02. And the Oilers have scored first again, third time in 4 games. Kessel to Keller, and now the net dislodged. By the way, that was the situation last time we had a stoppage. Well, the NBA season, Louis, is underway, and the Toronto Raptors have the Boston Celtics coming on tomorrow, 5 o'clock Mountain on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet Now.
A little bit of trouble down there with that net. That's the second time that it's been lodged off, and they're going to go to work here and make sure that they put it on there effectively, get the drill out, re-drill that hole. And you know, for Evan Bouchard in the penalty-killing role, Dave Tippett's talked about a lot, and it makes total sense to me when you think about it. Players that can make a play in tight, have the hands and the mindset to make it, are great penalty killers, because that's one of the most important skills, to be able to make plays when you're under pressure, when you're down by a man or two. And for Evan Bouchard, even off that face-off there, just a little play to make a move, puts it down the ice 200 feet. Those are valuable plays. They don't look like much, but they're hard to make under the pressure of a forechecking power play. And the kid's been all right. That's something that Dave Tippett wants to see him in. He wants to see him in all situations. He's put him in all situations now in his 4th game of the season. And you know what? It's something you have to be able to do if you want to stick around the National Hockey League for a long time. He pounces on this loose puck. He fights off the check and protects. Doesn't look like much. And then right there, that little tiny lift to allow not for the defender to get in there and steal that puck. Offensive player, yes, by nature, but that also works in the other end when you're trying to make plays.
And, you know, Zach Hyman will love him for it, because then it turns into a face-off win instead of a face-off loss.
Yeah.
And guys, those neutral draws, believe me, your center iceman appreciates it. Now, Hyman took that draw because it was to the right of Koskinen. This one on the left side will be Nugent Hopkins' responsibility. By the way, Hyman picked up his 100th assist on Tuesday, and Zach Kassian, who's in the box right now, he gets to the century mark in apples with that Foegele goal.
And I like the little hesitation putting it out of the zone by Kassian on that play. Didn't just fire it out, looked up, found someone, and hit his mark.
Nugent Hopkins able to win the face-off, and Bouchard will send it up the right-hand side. Well, you said it. Allowed him to skate into it, sort of like McDavid on the empty netter to finish off the game against Calgary. Puljujarvi threw it into an area where he knew his captain could skate into it. Although McDavid, as long as it stays on the ice surface, he's going to find it. You know, the line.
I like his chances of winning the race.
Keller, Gostisbehere, and now Phil Kessel. Gostisbehere walks the line. Kessel, 20 goals a year ago for the 12th time in 13 seasons. Flashed it around the boards, recovered by Keller, centering pass tipped through Kessel, kept it alive briefly for Fischer, and then swung off the boards and out by an alert Evan Bouchard. 20 seconds to go in the period. Walking in is Keller to the middle of the ice. Gostisbehere, a shot, and that was blocked by the sturdy Darnell Nurse. And now you've got 3-on-1 shorthanded. Nurse will activate, take it from Ron to the net, and that was stopped by Vejmelka. Might have gotten on the heel of the stick, but Vejmelka came out to challenge, and the Coyotes have seen enough. They're just going to skate out the remaining seconds, and they'll settle for the 1-0 deficit on Warren Foegele's first goal as an Oiler. Nurse ruining the missed opportunity to make it a 2-goal lead.
Yeah, that was a nice drive by Darnell Nurse and a perfect pass by Ryan. Here's the chance at one end, a good save. Darnell Nurse activates. He wants this puck, drives around Keller, who's a forward in the defensive position, and almost puts that one home. That was a nice save in tight, but for Darnell Nurse, he can fly too, and he jumps up in the play.
Warren Foegele has staked Edmonton to a 1-0 lead. Carolyn and Sam on the other side on Sportsnet.
You know, Carolyn Cameron with you, and with Mike Smith on the IR, a good first period by Mikko Koskinen.
Yeah, it's nice to see a guy rebound come in a situation where everyone's been talking about, hey, Mike Smith, he's turned back the clock. He's been outstanding to start the season. So Mikko Koskinen has to come in as an injury replacement, and it's not always pretty, and it's a little bit unorthodox, and he plays deep in the net, but he seemingly gets it done here in this first period. And you heard the guys talking about, hey, they were stretches in that first period where no doubt Arizona was outplaying Edmonton. So in this situation, you lean on Koskinen, your goaltender, get everything settled down. Yeah, again, doesn't exactly know where it is all the time, plays a little deep in the net, but he's getting the job done. And so that just allowed Edmonton to settle into its game. I thought in the latter stages of that first period, they really started to get it going. And then, of course, the Foegele goal puts them in a good spot going into the second.
11 saves in that opening frame. Well, in Montreal, the story, Jesperi Kotkaniemi returning after, the offer sheet and $20 bonus thing. And Montreal just looking for a win. Second period, Montreal power play down 2-0. Nick Suzuki to Tyler Toffoli. Thank you.
Yes, 108 minutes, 33-second drought by the Montreal Canadiens comes to an end on the Toffoli power play marker.
And then it's got to happen, right? Kotkaniemi?
Yep. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That is just adding salt to the wound.
Yeah.
Oof.
The Habs tie the record starting 0-5. One other team has done that who's made it to the Stanley Cup final the year before. That's not a good stat. It also took me a long time to say it. Flames and Red Wings. That's Elias Lindholm making it 1-0 Flames. Yeah, there we go. We're caught up. Later, scramble in front. Andrew Mangiapane buries it.
Yeah, an Italian that's bread eater. So 3-0. The Flames' key guys, the core guys, getting it done in this one.
Their first win of the season. Sharks and Sens, first period, Ottawa, odd man rush, and Brady Tkachuk is back, and Drake Batherson scores.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of that. Tkachuk and Batherson, great combination for head coach DJ Smith.
And then the Sharks, they tie it with Logan Couture in front.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. I could score that one, I think.
Later, Sharks power play, Erik Karlsson tees up Kevin Labanc.
Yeah, game winner, had one called back earlier in the game, and a couple of old coaching buddies. Bob Boughner, who was working with DJ Smith and Windsor Spitfires, those two go head-to-head, and Boogie wins this one.
Well, Warren Foegele, he has his first goal as an Edmonton Oiler, which means his first interview with Gene Principe.
Thanks very much. Warren, when you start a season, you get to see new teams, and Arizona came out strong. What did you like about the way your team responded after a good early start for the home side?
Yeah, I thought we had our moments in this period. A couple sloppy plays, but we're at our best when we get the puck in there behind their D and make life difficult. But it's a good road period, and try to play well for the next 40.
What's it like to get your first goal as an Edmonton Oiler?
Pretty exciting. Pretty happy right now, but job's not done, and it's funny how Cass seems to be right about everything. He said, tonight's your turn, so funny how that works.
Yeah, nice with Kyle Turris, who walked by and said, nice goal. It's always a great way to kind of continue to get to learn your new team. And after the trade, what's it been like for you to just get used to the Oilers and, being in a new country and, in a new conference?
No, it's been an amazing experience so far. The guys have been so welcoming, and when everyone's so welcoming, it makes it a lot easier to come in here, and, the guys have just been so great.
Well, and it helps when you score goals like that. Warren, thanks for your time, and congratulations on the goal.
Thanks.
Well, Warren Foegele getting his first NHL goal with the Edmonton Oilers, and it's the first one for Edmonton tonight against Arizona.
Station 50/50 ticket, you help make Oil Country a better place. Buy now at EdmontonOilers.com.
Well, Oil Country is a better place, even though the Oilers are in Glendale, Arizona. That's because they lead 1-0 over the Coyotes after one period of play. And you just saw that graphic about the 50/50 on the part of the Edmonton Oilers. And really, when you look at what the Oilers have done with something that's been around, it's been around. How many of us have been to a minor hockey rink and it's a 50/50, right? And you get kind of like an arm's length worth of tickets. They've become the Connor McDavid of 50/50s because of how successful they've been, and then they turn around and take that success and they put it back to these kids, and that's really what it's all about. We talked about it the other night in Edmonton with Jason Chimera, a former Edmonton Oiler, about how it helps minor hockey, sustains the sport. It's not always easy to keep kids playing and keep them busy on rinks like this outdoor rink in Edmonton. So keep it up. If you're involved in the 50/50, keep buying those tickets because you're helping those kids you just saw. Jacob Chychrun was once a kid who probably dreamed of being in the National Hockey League. And not only is he in the NHL, he is flourishing in the National Hockey League. Louis and Jack talked about this defenseman on the part of the Arizona Coyotes. Maybe not as well known as some of the other defensemen around the National Hockey League, but we should discuss what he was able to do, particularly last season with Arizona. Oiler fans didn't get a chance to see him because they didn't play those American teams. But boy, he put up some incredible numbers. Darnell Nurse was close. It was such a tight race between the two of them when it came to most goals by a defenseman last season. But Chychrun just edging out the Edmonton Oilers. That's quite the company of goal scorers when it comes to blue line help. Now, if you're looking for reasons for Jacob to be successful, well, you might point to the fact that his dad, for those that may not remember, Jeff Chychrun, big, tough, strong defenseman in the National Hockey League. But let's not forget Grandpa. This is an amazing story. Grandpa is 84 years old, and yeah, they spend some time golfing together. Look at them. They play hockey together, oftentimes in the summer. the Chikrins will play together on a weeknight. Beer League hockey, I love the team he's involved in there, the Silver Foxes. So what a great story about the spirit and the game of hockey being passed down from generation to generation to generation. Great job, Grandpa. Keep it up. All the grandpas out there and fathers that get a chance to continue to help out their sons and grandsons in the National Hockey League. A reminder, EdmontonOilers.com/50/50. Play the largest game day 50/50 you will find anywhere. It's such a great way for the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation to give back when it comes to grassroots hockey. Support the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation by purchasing those 50/50 tickets at EdmontonOilers.com/50/50 or by scanning the QR code on the screen. Net funds support charitable groups and youth initiatives as grassroots hockey in oil country. And the pot continues to grow and grow and grow. Don't forget, buy now at EdmontonOilers.com. It is a lead for Edmonton, and you know, Oiler fans are loving their new winger. They're not loving him, they're McLoving him. It's 1-0 Edmonton through 20 minutes of play here in the desert against the Coyotes. Arizona, where the Edmonton Oilers lead after one period of play, and it has been quite the playoffs in the baseball world. The Astros hold a 3-2 series lead over the Red Sox and look to book their ticket to the World Series. Tune in to Game 6, Red Sox Astros, tomorrow at 5:30 Mountain on Sportsnet, and Sportsnet now presented by TD. And listen, we interviewed Warren Fogle. Warren Fogle scored. Let's keep the theme going. Hey, look at them. They were that close as well back in Pee Wee. Connor McDavid and Warren Fogle, one of the nice things we found out since Warren was acquired by the Edmonton Oilers, this is not the first time that he's been a teammate of Connor McDavid's. Now let's spot shadow them. That's what we call it in TV, I think. Number 91, that's Warren Fogle. There's Connor McDavid right there. And look who's just in back of Connor McDavid. The guy hasn't aged a day. That's Brian McDavid, who was the coach of the team back then as Pee-wees. They were, as you can imagine, they were really, really good. Fogle, at that point, wasn't quite sure that McDavid would become a generational talent, but he could see that McDavid and the guy we like to joke about being McLovin would end up being teammates once again, now in their National Hockey League careers, Louis and Jack.
Thank you, Gene. Well, we now know how he gets all these archive photos. He really lays it thick for the parents, doesn't he? Butters them up. Yeah, ripens them perfectly.
He works his craft, no question about that.
All right, we've got a carryover situation here. Arizona on the power play for 29 seconds to start the second period. Edmonton a 1-0 lead as the Oilers look to join Florida as the only teams to this point in the National Hockey League 4-0. 3-0 coming in. Coyotes trying to get off the schneid at 0-2-1. Andrew Ladd maintains offensive zone for Chicken. Stripped away by Nurse, fired it right off his teammate Nugent Hopkins. Got a friendly bounce out of the zone, and that will do it for the Canucks power play. Here's a wrist shot, Coyotes, not Canucks. Steady, lead pass, Hyman from Nugent Hopkins. And as he was checked by Chikrin, the play whistled for an offside.
That was a good defensive play right there by Chikrin. It looked like Hyman was going to put it into high gear, and that little slash on the stick just disrupts it enough and forces the offside. But for Zach Hyman, has come as advertised in a big offseason acquisition. As we look at Andre Tourigny, who's the new head coach of the Arizona Coyotes. Good conversation you and I had with him before the game, and understands this is a team that's in a rebuilding. They've got some older guys to help those young guys in the mix, but they know the game they have to play each and every night to try and be successful in this league. And it's a hard-nosed, end-to-end game.
In addition to a tremendous win-loss record in junior hockey, also an assistant under Patrick Waugh in Colorado that began his NHL career, also assisted in Ottawa. Cleared eventually by Yashkin behind the Edmonton net. Collected by Duncan Keith, starts up ice. Touched on by McDavid behind the net. Vemelka quickly advanced through by Gostisbehere, and now Yashkin. CC back. Heavy collision. Puck behind the net. Keith blocked off Larson. And then powering through Puljujärvi, Jacob Chikrin. Draisaitl a little back pass. Keith recognized and came over to make a play on it as Andrew Ladd pursuing. Ladd scored a goal in the Monday loss to St. Louis. It was his first since prior to the pandemic. He's only played 4 games in the NHL in the last 2 seasons. But boy, he could score. 17 years in the National Hockey League. Lead pass right hand. Larson, nothing wrong with that kind of career. Ryan comes over. On to Zingle. Freed it up. Cuckoo. Advance to Cassian. Hits the line. Bouchard gives it a look. Twists back to Fogle. Lost the angle. Got it back and snapped one wide. Rebound to Cassian. Cuckoo. Bouchard shot on net. Steered aside by Vejmelka. And then left behind for Connor Timmins. And he'll break the puck out. A dart down the middle. Nick Schmaltz. Going to get on the scoreboard this season. One-time 20-goal scorer with Chicago. Has not reached that level in Arizona. Brendan Perlini, again involved in that deal, will send it in deep to the Edmonton Oilers. Shore and Turris on the forecheck. Snap pass from Turris to Perlini, went off the stick, but Nurse able to maintain. Perlini, as Edmonton looks to build on this 1-0 lead. Turris waits, tried to center, and that was stuffed by Krause and ended up out of play.
There's that goal you were talking about by Andrew Ladd. He's had a long, hard road back and has missed some seasons and grinded his way back into a National Hockey League lineup. Was with the Islanders for a few years, and as you mentioned, this was back March 10th of 2020. Long time coming from him, but a couple of Stanley Cups. And Andre Tourigny said, listen, these older guys that are cup winners, they come in here, they play a certain way. They expect a lot from themselves, and Andrew Ladd is another one of those players that comes in here and provides that veteran leadership. And big goal for him. You like to see that, right? Come back and score a goal, and you never know which one's going to be your last. So you celebrate them all.
McDavid wins the faceoff. A shot by Nurse. A save made by Vejmelka. And now Hyman able to curl it coming off the goal line. McDavid. One-timer ripped by Barry and a save made on a deflection by Vejmelka. And then a block shot sends it flying out of play. Selling out. Coyotes doing a nice job to get that over the glass. And they'll settle for a faceoff.
Warren Fogle talked with Gene Principe about just this, getting pucks in behind, working a puck back to the blue line and getting traffic in front. Goes off maybe, pull your RV in front. Nice little diving block right there by Beagle, who sells out. A good chance created, just a simple play to get a puck through the net. It's Barry that finds that shot through the traffic and becomes dangerous once it's down into that zone.
Beagle, a 14-year veteran in his own right, Louis, the first guy ever to win championships in the ECHL, the American Hockey League, and the National Hockey League. That is paying your dues.
It certainly is, and you know what? He's one of those workman-like players, too. And another one of those guys, a Stanley Cup on his resume from 2018.
Do you have a penalty coming off of this face-off?
McDavid arguing, but
this face-off violation, I believe.
Yeah.
Edmonton penalty, a bench minor for face-off violation.
So Arizona gifted a second power play, a couple of face-off violations.
I haven't seen McDavid this animated in a while, and here it is here as here's the first one where he gets kicked out. And then Hyman steps in, and right there, just a little quick off the jump, and David was irate. He didn't like that at all. And
well, you noted, I mean, he could have drawn a penalty back in the first period, and I'm sure maybe that conversation returned to that subject after that swap.
He had a conversation earlier in the first period with the officials about that non-call.
Puljujärvi will serve it for the Oilers. Shot by Chapman off the draw, whistled wide. Clattered off the boards, collected, and then turned over by Schmaltz. Ryan Yamamoto, Bouchard, and Nurse on the penalty kill. Coyotes another opportunity to tie this game. And some good looks early. Koskinen repelled them. Ladd muscled it through, but Arizona was offside.
Well, here's the conversation I was talking about. Tyson Baker having a little conversation with Connor McDavid, and he's probably saying, hey, listen, there was a stick that came in and took me down on that play. There was 2 Arizona Coyotes, and listen, we get the luxury of seeing replay. I get that. So a guy that skates as fast as McDavid, the feet moving as fast as they are, yeah, there's going to be some missed calls, but he wasn't too happy about it. And came later in that shift, showed that frustration, a little more urgency, and a burr in his saddle. And had a lengthy discussion after that face-off violation. He didn't like it too much at all. You don't see that call too often. But I don't see him taking back either, so a big kill here for the Oilers.
Kessel able to tuck it in. His 904th straight game tonight. Cutting inside, backdoor to Kessel, and he peeled that into his own skates. Gostisbehere. Power play point man for years in the league. Kessel lines it up. Gostisbehere, one-timer and a save. Koskinen once again square to the shooter and puts the rebound away, no problem.
Yeah, good one-time blast and good movement here by the Coyotes, and the positioning for Edmonton, not letting them find that seam play, but just a little work back to the blue line and good traffic by Fisher right in front of Koskinen. It was a nice job to find this puck through that traffic. That's a big man standing in front trying to get a piece of it. More importantly, it's swallowed up. No extra change left over.
Christian Fisher, power forward for the Coyotes. The man Lou is alluding to. Evan Bouchard off the draw, pulled it free and quickly flipped down the ice by Warren Fogle, who's out there now with Shore and Nurse. In a penalty killing situation for the Edmonton Oilers. A 1-0 lead for the visitors. 40 seconds left on the man advantage. Kessel now just 60 off the league record. Held for a long time now by Doug Jarvis. I mean, that has probably held up 30 years.
And it's a guy you don't really think of for longevity necessarily. No disrespect, but he just keeps plugging away and keeps playing. He's not that far away from it.
Gostisbehere a shot off the right pad of Koskinen. Rebound thrown right back to Gostisbehere. Kessel biding his time against Bouchard and Fogle. Fisher inside. Back to Kessel. Fogle unable to clear. Thought he was pulled down, then a bad pass over to Clayton Keller. Gostisbehere forces Arizona to regroup. Carried back in by Fisher. Around Bouchard. They're going to get Bouchard for a hold. And Draisaitl will club it off the boards and down the ice. And Edmonton's going to be shorthanded again.
This period brought to you by Yellow Cab, Edmonton's hometown advantage. You've got places to go. They are ready to roll. Choose Yellow Cab.
Evan Bouchard here just kind of digs in a little deep, and it's a nice move by Fisher, who's a big body. That reach in right there, you try and reach for the puck, and that little lean in by Fisher creates just a little bit more of a grip than Bouchard wanted. After one good penalty kill, they're right back on the penalty kill again.
Jacob Chikrin off the draw, guides it over Timmins. Schmaltz against Keith, Ceci, Ryan, and Yamamoto. Yamamoto getting a stick in the passing lane, forcing it to be reversed. Chikrin a shot, save Koskinen, a rebound. Swept to the corner by Keith. Whipped around the boards by Chikrin, picked off. Keith anticipated and delivered a 200-foot clear in one shot. He's really starting to round into form, my estimation. Connor Timmins, a back pass to the hustling Nick Schmaltz. Left wing for Chikrin. Reverse back to Timmins. Nugent Hopkins the challenge up top. Cuckoo, Nurse, and Hyman out there. Timmins under duress. Little give and go inside. Healing one harmlessly onto the tape. And Ryan Nugent Hopkins with Schmaltz. Hyman the other way, shorthanded. Rich shot, score! Edmonton will take a 2-0 lead. Zach Hyman with the shorty, and the Oilers go up a deuce.
What a shot by Hyman. A little bump there by Chikrin on Nurse afterwards. But a beautiful little play by Nugent Hopkins. He doesn't just throw this puck down the ice after this sequence. Here's the one-timer that's missed. Nugent Hopkins comes in, picks up that puck. Little look up to Hyman, puts it off the boards, as you mentioned. A carom into space, and it's Darnell Nurse driving to that post that allows Hyman to kind of play this puck, watch, doesn't force the pass, and lasers it by Vejmelka for a 2-0 lead. What a shot. Picks the far side, off the bar and in.
Well, and Vejmelka committed early with that glove hand. He dropped it, and then it was ripped right over where his glove had just been. That's Zach Hyman's 8th career shorthanded goal. Nugent Hopkins collects his 4th assist of the year, and now the Coyotes are offside, coming over the line, and Edmonton finds itself up 2-0. Hyman a shorthanded goal, and this is a game, Louis, and you talked about it a little bit. Dave Tippett may not exactly be elated on the bench, but the Oilers, quite frankly, are cashing in on the opportunities that the Coyotes have wasted.
And you have to in those situations. And on the other hand, exactly right, Jack, the Coyotes haven't cashed in the good chances that they've had. and that's why it's a 2-0 game for Edmonton. But Dave Tippett's always been very honest in his evaluations of the team, and I'm sure in between periods he was like, listen, we need to get things going here a little bit better and be a little sharper. I'm sure he didn't like the 2 penalties to start things off, but they're up 2-0 and need to keep continuing to try to kill this one off.
Remember, it's still an Arizona power play with a shorthanded goal. They had another 40 seconds, but just not doing much with it. Keith has Fisher tied up. Krause came over to support. Clayton Keller will kick it back to Gostisbehere. Open man, Kessel, shot, and that was elevated up and out of play, and that will do it for another Arizona failed power play, and this one not only converted, but leads to Edmonton's second goal of the game. Oilers in control on the road.
Nugent Hopkins with the assist. All business on the ice. Off the ice, though, he likes to horse around.
Eighth of a mile from home. Infinite Patience. Plum blue outside, inside. Pearl of Knowledge. But it's still Infinite Patience under a hand ride by Reyes. And Infinite Patience will pour it on late. Infinite Patience gets it done here for her third.
Yeah, what a horse and what a success story it's been for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He talked about when he was a kid with his brother Adam and his dad Roger, they would go to the track, and we figured with that point he just got, it was the right time to trot out that story.
You needed it down the stretch, though, Gene. 2-0 Edmonton. Draisaitl wins the face-off to the left of Koskinen and hammered off the boards. This will be angled on net, and Vejmelka, all he can do is fall on it with a little spray shower coming courtesy of Connor McDavid. 12:24 to go, second period, and Edmonton hasn't been great throughout, but the Oilers have just buried a couple of chances that the Coyotes have not. And full marks to Koskinen. He deserves some credit. He
Especially
was
early on.
Yes.
Made some big saves. That blocker save on Chikrin walking right down Main Street. That's just going to really ignite a bench, give him confidence early on, and he denies him. That was his best save of the game by far.
Chikrin from the red line dumps it in. Front end of a back-to-back for Edmonton. They'll be in Vegas tomorrow night. Louis and I will have it right here on Sportsnet. Golden Knights bested last night by the St. Louis Blues 3-1. So Golden Knights off to a bit of a sputtering start at 1-2. Pass nudge to the middle. Draisaitl. Nurse fired one ahead for McDavid. That was broken up. Now Puljujärvi carries it in. And I think Koskinen has a chance to play the second end of the back-to-back as well. You've got McDavid out there with Draisaitl and Puljujärvi. Dave Tippett giving that line a look here. Drive by Barrie, easily blockered aside by Vejmelka. We'll see whether it was just a product of the kills and that sort of rotation or a permanent move in this game. Here's Barrie sneaking behind, tried to center. Glanced off the side of the goal. Puljujärvi comes off the end line. McDavid spins to his right, cuts in. Wrist shot, score! That's goal number 200 for Connor McDavid, and it's a beauty! 3-0 Edmonton.
You ever laser that one, and you're right, loading up after the penalty kill. Dave Tippett likes to do that, 2 kills in succession, load up the big line, and it pays off once again for the Oilers. And they go to work in the offensive zone, just controlling that puck, and McDavid just absolutely explodes into the slot here. He takes his puck, looks, says, you know what, gonna get the feet moving, bang, makes that quick stop, picks his spot far side again, similar to where Hyman shot that puck far side on Vejmelka. But this is almost unstoppable. Once he gets the feet moving, wants to pick that corner, gets that shot away so fast, and the taps afterwards by Puljujärvi. 3-0 Edmonton.
When he cut inside, Louis, I was thinking 2 words. Good night. You said it. Exploded into the slot, and I did not like Vejmelka's chances at all. He was just talking about the horses. That would have been an easy bet. Kessel will get into the zone. Puljujärvi and Barrie with the helpers on McDavid's 5th of the season and the 200th of his National Hockey League career. Time 8:53. And it's 3-0 for Edmonton, and you wonder whether that shorthanded goal, a bit of a backbreaker. Travis Boyd tried to sneak it inside. Cleared by Derek Ryan. And the Coyotes have had 3 power plays. The Oilers have had none. There have been chances for Arizona, and you look up at the board halfway home in this hockey game, and it's 3-0.
Big slash there by Warren Foegele. I can't believe there wasn't a call, to be honest with you. He can give Timmins a pretty good chop after he interfered with him coming over the line.
Keller backhanding it in. Devin Shore whistles it rink wide for Bouchard. He wastes no time pumping it up the right-hand side. Perlini stays strong. Forces it inside the Arizona line.
But you know what, Jack, I agree with you on that shorthanded goal. I think it just gives you that buffer, a little cushion. You know, you're under a little bit of pressure, power play, and it just kind of settles you into the game and allows you to play a little bit more steady. And then the big line comes out after the 2 penalty kills in succession and makes it 3-0.
Well, what about the impact on the other team? I mean, I think it has a deflating. Yes, absolutely.
No question.
Perfect word. Sent in deep by Gostisbehere. Bouchard, right-hand side. Turris turns and clubs it down the ice. This may be an icing, and there's the whistle with 9:16 to go in this second period. And the Oilers up 3-rip.
Yeah, Connor Timmins takes a pretty good whack here. For Foegele, he didn't like the way he was cross-checked in the midsection, and Foegele just follows through afterwards and gives him a pretty good chop. Gets away with it. Rubbing his racing out there, but for Foegele, he's really come in with the size, scored his first goal tonight, the first goal of this game to get things started for Edmonton as an Oiler. The physical presence he provides has been noticed this year.
Chikrin didn't have a lane, so he swung it over to Stralman. His drive went off the glove of Koskinen harmlessly into the corner. Stralman backing off. His second shot turned over by Bouchard and ripped wide by an off-balance Yashkin. Back to the point. Fired on net. A redirect by Yashkin. Another save by Koskinen. Yashkin has been one of Arizona's more noticeable forwards in this game. Somewhat unsurprising. Last 2 years in the KHL, first and second in goals scored. 69 in 2 years.
Pretty impressive, you know, in his second stint coming back to the National Hockey League. Was with St. Louis for years, played a little bit in Washington. And yeah, goes over to the KHL and lights it up. And we're hoping he can do it here.
Single with a wrist shot off the rush from Larson, missed the net. Chikrin off balance, glove by Koskinen, and he'll pinwheel with the puck in his pocket, and now we've got a bit of a scrum. Nurse engaged, Draisaitl comes over, make sure Ladd isn't getting involved, and Connor McDavid. This is how you celebrate goal number 200.
We're going to take another look at that laser goal by Connor McDavid. His 200th of his career right here. Walks around Larson, little fake to the middle, and bam, it's off the stick in a hurry, picking the far side to make it 3-0. The celebration afterwards, and you look at the list, the fewest games with 200 goals in Oiler history. Not bad company, 411.
Look at that
McDavid,
list.
Draisaitl, yeah, the only two that aren't yet in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And he just continues.
Make your reservations now. Koskinen getting a look at a draw to his right. I mean, it's, you know, again, when you broadcast Edmonton Oilers games, you see a lot of lists like that, but it just never gets old. Some of the greatest names in the game. Here's Jesse Puljujärvi off the rush, and a shot deflected out of play by Stralman.
Through every challenge you face, we help you return and rebuild, because that's what it means to build confidence together.
And Jack, to further on that just a little bit, that's what makes it so amazing. We do have the luxury of watching these guys play every night, but to be in the same sentence with some of those great players, the greatest that ever played the game, and actually be doing it in an area where it's the toughest to put up points, that's what makes it even more remarkable.
McDavid, a drop off for Nurse. Jesse Puljujärvi gives it right back to him. Puljujärvi now up to 7 points on the year. He's off to a terrific start. Krause, wrist shot off the rush, save made by Koskinen. Steady as she goes on Larson. Larson able to knock it down on the half wall, poked away by Nurse. Flipped off the glass, up the left-hand side. McDavid trying to force it out. He's back with Hyman and Puljujärvi. Louis and I talked about a bit of a situational rotation that paid off for Edmonton as that puck finally pulled out of the zone and immediately carried back in by Phil Kessel. Drop pass nearly poked away by Puljujärvi. That could have been 2-on-0. Instead, Timmins up the right-hand side. Nurse came over for a big check, caught a piece, and ultimately watched Barry clear up the right-hand boards. Timmins to Labushkin. And now Yaskin over the line. Beyond rushing, waiting, and dishing. Broken up. Schmaltz just nowhere to go with that pass. Having another quiet night to this point, but still more than 25 minutes left in this game. Kessel to Schmaltz. And he'll jam it in. Barry laid it off. Keith carefully up the line, knocked down at the blue line, cutting inside Fisher, but no. Canceled out by Keith and Barry. The outlet for Ryan. Thinking Cassian, but intercepted. Goss to spare ahead. And now Louis Eriksson on his backhand save made by lunging Mikko Koskinen, who has been terrific tonight. 17 stops. Jumping up his Mayo, making his National Hockey League debut. Duncan Keith poised, fending off a check from Beagle and watching a high floater set up ice by Fogle. Shoveled back in by Fisher. That looked like a 56-degree wedge.
Stop. Came back a little bit.
Speaking of 56, Yamamoto guides it in. Draisaitl on his backhand tried to center, and that was broken up and lad the other way to the Coyotes. Ryan Dzingel, two-time 20-goal scorer in Ottawa. He's a teammate of Turris on that Senators team that came within a goalpost of advancing to the 2017 Stanley Cup Final. Here's Bouchard. Turned over. Dzingel, cross ice, picked off. Yamamoto negated by a diving Stroman. That was a good play. Otherwise, maybe 2-on-1 Edmonton the other way and settled by Chychrun.
They've had a couple close calls. That was a good defensive play by Chychrun on the 2-on-1. Draisaitl trying to find a late Yamamoto, and it just hits the stick of Chychrun in the right spot, or else that would have been a grade A chance.
Larson dumps it in. Draisaitl backhands it in deep. Clayton Keller burrowed into by Nugent Hopkins, poked it back to Nurse. Another subtle play made by Nugent Hopkins. A lot of his plays don't necessarily show up on the score sheet, but Dave Tippett loves the way he competes at both ends. Timmins, right-hand side for Boyd. Picked by Nurse, angled off the boards. Chip past Perlini, and now Keller to Krause. Wrist shot off the rush, and a save made by Koskinen, and then Krause making some contact, and the Oilers not enthralled with that maneuver.
Nothing here, it's incidental.
No harm, no foul. Mikko Koskinen none the worse for wear. He's been perfect on 19 shots tonight, including this backhander from Louis Eriksson.
Big Pivot did say that Mikko Koskinen was scheduled to play in this game tonight versus Arizona. This is the injury to Mike Smith on Tuesday. The Anaheim Ducks drive to the net. He gets bulldozed over, so a little sensitive in any contact around the blue paint the Edmonton Oilers are. And you saw that last sequence. It was Lawson Krause, the big customer, coming down the left-hand side. Shot doesn't get handled very well by Koskinen. He kind of dives to try and poke at it in the process, hits him a little bit. Koskinen no worse for wear. And there's young Stuart Skinner, called up from Bakersfield to back up in this game, and having a terrific start down there as well. 2-0 and 1.50 goals against average. So that's the type of season he wants to put forward too. But a little sensitive when you see guys driving into your goaltender.
And that was after a .926 save percentage in the preseason up with Edmonton. So Skinner starting to round into form, starting to look like a real pro is what he's starting to do. Walking in Schmaltz, a drive from the point, a splayed out Koskinen. That said, his score holds, and the way Koskinen has looked tonight, would not be surprised if he gets the back end as well tomorrow in Vegas. It's early in the season. Here's Kessel, looking backdoor. That pass out of the reach of Schmaltz. Challenged by Barry. The Oilers chasing a bit in their own end right now, but leading 3-0. Goss's Barry shot ticketed wide, but Koskinen speared it anyway.
All dreams start at home. Chase yours in a customized plan by Coventry Homes, the preferred builder of the Edmonton Oilers.
And on that sequence, Jack, a terrific stick by Tyson Barrie, just to lift the stick of Schmaltz a little bit to not allow that cross-seam pass by Kessel to find its mark. That's just being in the right spot, doing the job in front.
And I think Barry's, really focusing in on the commitment to the defensive game, kind of rounding out the corners of his game as he enters his 30s, Lou. Led the league in points a year ago, but I think he considers himself a potential Norris guy if he gets more on the defensive side of things. Up the left-hand side, Connor McDavid around the boards, Duncan Keith. That's not from him, but I've just noticed he's doing a lot of work in his own zone this season. McDavid ripped by Keith off the glove of Vejmelka. Tracked by Hyman. Puljujärvi, another blast by Keith high in the air. Might have glanced off Hyman. He was engaged with Beagle. He tries to defend McDavid. Tug back to Ceci. Wrist shot blocked by Fischer. A second chance to save Vejmelka. Rebound loose, top of the blue paint and tucked underneath. And then Hyman sent tumbling over the prostrate netminder.
Absolute chaos in front of Vejmelka here, the Arizona Coyotes netminder. And the first blast by Duncan Keith. He fights off with the right-handed glove, a right-handed catching goaltender. He makes a huge save, but then the Oilers go to work in a power move by McDavid out of the corner again. Watch this one here, just a little dangle, finds Ceci back in the high slot. That's blocked. Good job by Ceci to stay with it. And then he swallows it up, eventually takes a skate in the face by Hyman there, just trying to fight for that puck, but he had to scramble to make that save.
Ryan wins the face-off, Fogle to Kuku. That ever bother you as a shooter? Right-handed catch?
I usually didn't know who the goaltender was. I had other things on my mind.
Operating from beneath the goal line. Drive by Bouchard. Here's Kuku.
Truth be told.
So your video study on goalies, not as developed as it might be now.
Scored out a couple Hall of Famers, though. I will say that. So
here's Bouchard in front. Hey, played 400 more games than I did. Loose puck in the corner. Cassie behind the net. Challenged by Lyubushkin and Boyd. Tug free, wrap around Fogle. Save made Vejmelka. Slashed free to Bouchard. Quick one-touch off the toe of Draisaitl. Still recovered. Fogle check from behind. Oilers unhappy. Felt there could have been a boarding there. Yamamoto trying to peel it out of there. Draisaitl's got that huge piece of lumber on his blade, and he's really trying to power inside on Lyubushkin. Fierce battle behind, and Draisaitl wins it. Bouchard. Ushers to Nugent-Hopkins. Back to Bouchard. Ripped one off the outside of the post. Draisaitl, after the rebound, thought he was high stick. Didn't get the call. Centering pass. Nugent-Hopkins, a shot deflected high and out of play with $1:22 left, and the Oilers leading 3-0.
Well, a punishing shift on a follow-up shift from the top line. McDavid goes out there. Then Draisaitl's line comes out. And I like the work down low. You saw Fogle come out and the real power move out to the blue paint. And then it's followed up with just another successive shift where they're all over the puck, and you have to win those battles. Nugent-Hopkins trying to pick that far side again. That's a terrific block in tight. I mean, that one there was lasered inside the post, and a face-off to the right.
Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, Yamamoto, Nurse Berry. As the Oilers look for maybe a goal that would seal it right here. Draisaitl walks in off the draw. It's the short side of the net, got it back, threw it in front, tipped by Nugent-Hopkins, and Vejmelka able to control.
Vejmelka wisely puts the glove down on that one. And just pressure again. This is just following up a shift after a shift, building momentum. Nice little move by Draisaitl there to try to go to the forehand, elevate short side. And then right there you can see Vejmelka said, I've seen enough of this line in a couple of sequences. I'm going to hold on to this one for a face-off, this time to the right.
I feel like Dave Tippett senses an opportunity here, blood in the water. Try to get that fourth goal and maybe turn out the lights. But Strowman off the draw, won by the Coyotes, able to clear up the right-hand side and out. Nurse directs over to Barry with less than a minute to go. Edmonton another reset.
You know, Jack, it's about doing it the right way, too. It's about just paying the price, putting pucks in behind, working off the cycle. The skill has always been there to create chances once they have possession, but you have to win those puck battles to make it happen.
The Oilers are winning them here in the last couple of minutes. Draisaitl from the point. Yamamoto had just won a battle from behind the net. Nugent-Hopkins spun his man down, but the Coyotes are able to muscle a clear out to the blue line. Nurse ran into heavy traffic, but Barry was there with some puck support, and now he'll scramble away. Yamamoto. And the puck support has been there in a way that it was not in that middle portion of the first period. Yaskin. And all of a sudden, Arizona's attack is dried up. Pass off a linesman, though. Chance for the Coyotes, and a pass through Kessel and Chikrin with 8 seconds to go. Oilers still hungry here. It's McDavid barreling in, and a very late offside call. Puljujarvi was off balance and desperately tried to get back onside and could not.
He's trying to cross that line with everything that he could. I don't know. I think his arm and shoulder were across the line, if it's just the plane, but just got tangled up inside the line. It was a great effort by Hyman along the wall just to stay in the battle, lodge that puck and loose a little bit. Then McDavid just flies in right here, picks it up, and then you can see Puljujarvi try and stop, get back. And right there, didn't want to collide with the Coyote player coming back and just offside the call.
One last face-off, and Edmonton in control this game. A 3-0 lead. The shots in that period, 12-9 in favor of the Oilers. Goals by Hyman and McDavid. Carolyn and Sam, Gene and Bob. That's what's ahead. Oilers up in the desert.
Oilers after 2. Sam and Carolyn back with you, and McDavid being McDavid. That's all the analysis you need on his 200th career goal. What's maybe more interesting to me is the 2 other goal scorers, because they're much needed additions.
Yeah, player acquisition, when you're looking at doing and acquiring new players, you think about, okay, what boxes do we want to check? Well, you want to have skill, of course. Are you trying to fill a role? Maybe we're trying to do that. But you want good people. So I think it starts with good people for these 2 guys. First of all, Warren Foegele. This guy's effort is relentless at all times. He's such a responsible player. He's not going to put up a gazillion points for you, but he's just going to give you an honest effort and drag people into the fight every night. And then same sort of thing with Zach Hyman. You look at a great play by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, soft chip off the boards. Hyman takes it to the middle of the ice. He still uses a decoy on the 2-on-1 and ends up putting it in the back of the net. But you're talking about good people who work hard, who are paid accordingly, who are happy to be where they are. And I love these 2 acquisitions for this team. They add depth scoring. They continue to add that layer of work ethic. Really good acquisitions here.
New acquisitions were doing well for the Vancouver Canucks tonight, and Travis Green, he's wanting that effort from his players after a disappointing loss earlier this week to the Buffalo Sabres. In Chicago, first period, Alex DeBrincat, though, what a shot.
Oh, man, Kane. Just threading the needle on Kane night.
Tying things up at 1. Second period, Tanner Pearson tips it in.
Yeah, one of the great assets for a defenseman. Walk the line, get pucks through. Not many do it better than Quinn Hughes.
And then Canucks 5-on-3. Brock Besser, nice effort at the side of the net.
Yeah, good job. Checked once by Seth Jones, but wouldn't be denied the second time.
And Connor Garland had a great game, good effort, and an empty net goal that surprisingly had a very good effort included. Ducks and Jets, that's Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah, they got to be happy about that. A lot of talk about him in the offseason, the trade. Let's put that to bed. Let's get moving forward here, Winnipeg.
And there's Andrew Kopp. They've needed scoring, and they started getting it in this one. Third period, Jets power play, Josh Morrissey. They'd had 2 more, too. They take it 5-1 without Blake Wheeler, without Mark Scheifele due to COVID.
It didn't look good early on. They were getting outshot badly in that first period. Responded really well. Nice, resilient effort for the Jets.
Islanders and Blue Jackets, you love to see this. Cole Sillinger, his first career NHL goal.
Unbelievable. Played over 17 minutes in this game, so he's getting used by Brad Larson often.
And there is Patrick Laine in OT, his second OT winner of the season already. And McDavid already with his 5th goal of the season. Again, no surprise.
Couple low glove side goals.
Yeah, and Tyson Barrie with an assist on that one. Here he is with Gene.
Well, thanks very much. And Tyson, it looked like whatever you did in the first period, the team just sort of continued to build on that in the second. What did you make of just how things went in the second period for your club?
Yeah, I thought it was a good second for us. We had an okay first. I think Koski made some big saves to, keep it at 0 early, and then we've been coming since then, and we've been getting some ozone time, and just trying to keep the puck in their end. I think we're successful when we're rolling around in the ozone.
I know you picked up an assist, and I wonder, we are always talking about offense on this team, but what do you like about the way the defense is settling in with some new players joining the club?
Yeah, it's always early in the year. It's tough when you got new guys coming in and everyone's kind of feeling it out. So we've been focusing a little bit more on defense and getting our systems down first. And obviously we know with this team the offense will come. So that's kind of first and foremost. We're trying to iron that out. So I think we're taking a step in the right direction. We got to do a good job in the third here.
Tyson, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Tyson Barrie, the Edmonton Oilers, with an assist on goal 200 for Connor McDavid as the Oilers look to bury the Coyotes. At least that's the case after 2 periods of play. Including goals, and that's what the Oilers have and what the Coyotes would want through 2 periods of play as Edmonton looks, well, their record is 3-0, and that's a score right now. Holy smokes, there he is, live and in person. They didn't want us on the same level together, but we're happy to have Bob Stauffer in-house and ready to talk about, well, we have you on the panel back in Edmonton, so why not talk to you here on the road? And you know, we talked to Warren Foegele after the first period of play. He has been just a seamless fit. And what do you think of the Oilers when it comes to their depth up front, Bob?
Well, I think we all know it's a complete game changer in terms of what the organization targeted, Gene. And it's going to be a while before I can get on your level. Let's just establish that right now. But when you take a look at the addition of both Hyman and Foegele, you're talking top-end guys in terms of their ability to drive the net. And here's Foegele against Calgary. Derek Ryan scores the opening goal that night. Ryan's a smart, astute player that can play with bigger guys and get him the puck. And Foegele again against Anaheim, chips one down. Nugent Hopkins with just threading the needle. Cassian picks up the first of his 2 goals that night. Then Zach gets a power play goal here with a long-range bomber that he gets a piece of against Anaheim for his 2nd goal of the game. And then tonight, you know, again, Warren Foegele one-on-one goes up against the rookie, attacks him. Dyson Mayo walks him on the play and surprises Vejmelka. Real nice goal there. But Gene, it's simple to me. I mean, the Oilers, this is their 4th game, and they got 4 goals from their 3rd line. And for Oilers fans, that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, you didn't have to even hold the Mayo to get by him and score that goal. Listen, Louis and Jack talk about him. I do, you do. Mac T, who was with us on the panel. Let's discuss Connor McDavid hitting 200 goals. I mean, it's just nothing short of unbelievable. But let's talk about him and what you think of the goal and just his continued evolution. Well, and you nailed it, evolution, because a couple of parts of his game that have really improved, because he takes such a serious approach to it. He's got a relentless work ethic, and you know what? His shot and his face-offs to me are the biggest. He's the most advanced player we've never seen a guy this fast that's got the set of hands and the ability to process the game. But he's got that relentless work ethic, and he's, you know, applied it to improving his shot. I mean, that's an Austin Matthews type of shot that maybe he didn't have his first year in the NHL. Well, he's got it now. There's no question. He's working on one time in the pucks and then face-offs as well. And Edmonton's the benefactor. They've got the best player in the world, and they got him with his work ethic driving all the other players on the team. Yeah, they always say, like the boss, in this case, he's the captain. If he's working that hard, who's not going to work, or at least try to work as hard as he does? Now, we had a great graphic showing where he and Leon fit when it comes to reaching 200 goals at this point in their career and how many games it took. So you grew up watching those Oilers, and I know I don't want to get, you know, I try and stay away from it, but it's hard not to talk about Leon and Connor and not see some comparisons or connections, maybe is a better word, to those guys and what they were able to accomplish, 30 years ago. Well, there were 7 of them that are Hall of Famers, and I would say that the Oilers have 2 for sure. I mean, Draisaitl's won a Hart Trophy. McDavid and Draisaitl are headed to Hall of Fame careers. It's who's going to elevate and get there along the way. Does Darnell Nurse become a Hall of Fame type of defenseman? And the one thing that you got to consider when you factor, you got to do error-adjusted scoring. When you take a look at what those guys accomplished back in the 80s, shooting against 5'9", 5'10" goaltenders with teams that couldn't prep with video. And now every team in the league tries to take something away from you. They're well prepared, and the goalies are all 6'3" and 6'4" with bigger equipment. It's a different time. It's amazing with Connor and Leon. They're top 2 scoring players in the league over the last 5+ seasons, and the Oilers now are building some depth around them, and that should excite fans, Gene, in oil country. Bob, thanks very much. And Louis and Jack talked about it. We get to see these guys all the time. I mean, this job's great enough as it is. Thanks, Bob. We appreciate your insight. It just gets greater when you have an opportunity to watch Leon, Connor, and the Edmonton Oilers, especially on nights like tonight when they lead through 2 against the Coyotes.